Welcome to Secure Management Faculties, where your mind is key before you unlock what is seen. Secure Agent Dreyfuse. As the usual standard below, click below, hit the Sell Your Guns tab. If you have an extra additional firearm, send that firearm out, get that extra currency. Today we'll be talking about hollow self-defense infrastructure. And specifically what I mean by hollow self-defense infrastructure, or the infrastructure of the fundamental abstract build of what makes or what can make your self-defense actions or your aptitude into the connection to decisions to self-defense actions or choices. I'm referring to the abstract solidification of what makes it that strong, and I'm going to suggest some things to make it more solidified rather than being hollow. Let's jump into some principles. Now, often you find that a lot of people in this world play the mimicry game. It can be involuntary or voluntary. It can be passive or direct. The fact is, speaking in terms of self-defense and in the security or law enforcement profession, or any profession that matter, you found many people, subjects, or persons that you may say or have the thought process that they don't belong in that situation in context. There are various reasons why people end up in various places. But this is not to cast judgment against why somebody is there, but merely to make sure that you are there in anything that you do in solidification rather than hollowness. So let's be clear. Why are you doing what you're doing in terms of practical manner? Are you doing it just for the funds and the money of the situation? Are you doing it just for the sake of feeling superficial power of what it means to be in that position? Whether it's a management position, whether if it's just simply being in a security or law enforcement position because it's empowering, whether it's simply being in a position because it's rather imposing than other positions. Are you actually in a position of solidification in alignment to what your principles are, versus just being in alignment with it because it's superficially, carnistically, if you will, in alignment with general things that make you feel better about yourself rather than feeling insecure about yourself? Are you using the actual application or the things in your life or positions in your life as simple wares to make you feel better because people recognize those wares as authority? What I'm getting at is very simple. You find that in self-defense context that you find persons occupying positions based off of because it's a wear, like putting on clothing, that fills them up with a significance that draws them to a capacity of putting opposite action from those insecurities of being powerless to making them feel empowered. Now, this is nothing wrong with indirect influence of those wares, if you will, because there are items, tools, and situations and positions that allow a person to become inspired, and they actually can learn the context of being more empowered based off of the power and responsibility of certain set wearing a certain piece of clothing, such as a security or law enforcement uniform, and also with the responsibilities that hold, and or just simply being in a leader position. You will automatically become solidified because of the responsibilities. But this is not about that. This is not about the good intentions on becoming better passively or directly because you were wearing set or having a specific position that made you better. This is the actual concentration of simply acknowledging, not learning from the capacities of the influence of the wares, if you will, at all, and simply just being in the superficial empowerment because you have to maintain being in that position in order to not have your insecurities come forth from you, so you can still continuously feel that sense of power. And why is this bad for self-defense? It's bad for self-defense because you're doing self-defense for the wrong reasons. You're doing self-defense, or you're making self-defense based actions for the superficial empowerment of being empowered rather than being actually in power. It's not something that's necessarily complicated. Act and do things in accordance to the authenticity of what is you and actually what is the situation, rather than trying to do them just to copy in order to become nothing but an afterthought, or also known something as clearly described as a zombie, if you will, just to participate in something that you see that is empowering because others have done it. It's really this simple. If you're in a position, security, law enforcement, practical position, family man, it doesn't matter, a leader, if you're not being true to your aspects of yourself, as in whoever you are, a Jake, a Bill, a Jackson, whatever your name may be, if you're not being true and authentic as being yourself first, that plugs in and certain into that leadership position, right? And let's not talk about the greater principles, because it's not about you, it's about the position. That is understood. But we're talking about authenticity, connection before you make those decisions to put on that uniform, to be in that position, or to make that family and things of this nature. All you're going to do is be a hollow drone if you do not make that authenticity decision to be truthful. And you're going to be getting pulled along with the aspects of pretend, and before you know it, you're not even going to be able to have the receptivity to acknowledge if you're being in a state of authenticity or you're being in a state of insecurity. And you're nothing but going to be flesh occupying that uniform with a consolidated, concentrated, built performance of habits that indeed will fill its space and work as it should be. But you're only in that position because it's good to be, not because you should be. Now, this doesn't necessarily is going to pour to everyone in the most correct fashion, but it has to be acknowledged. Why is your self-defense infrastructure built or created in such hollowness instead of being in a solid solidification? Not because I'm saying it or others are saying it, but for the validity of yourself. Once again, secure management faculties where your mind is key before you unlock what is seen. Secure Agent Dreyfus. I want to thank everybody for participating and listening to Hollow Self-Defense Infrastructure. In my opinion, this could have been actually actualized a little bit more with further detail, but if we keep things straight and direct to where they need to be, as far as concentrating on what is hollowness versus what is solidification, again, we can understand that it's just simply being in a principle densified reasoning, as in why you're doing something, in the capacity to make you authentic and being true before you actually put on or interact with any item, tool, person, or position, because it's already going to be established that you're there for your reasons. And even if others don't understand, you know why you are there, rather than being there for superficial, passive, manipulative control to your emotions, to your carnal decisions that you may be making, or to superficial reasons why you're there just to feel empowered. Again, If you need an extra firearm, hit that sell your guns tab, follow the prompts, get that extra currency. I'll be returning on the next upload. Appreciate all who observed. Thank you.